In today's feature on Anticipate This, we talk about gender issues and its legal framework. Our guest for this session is Attorney Randall Tabayoyong. He is the name and senior partner of the Cadiz Tabayoyong and Partners, a general practice firm which handles, among others, labor and employment cases, litigation and arbitration, corporate, intellectual property, and immigration. He is an active member of the Labor Policy and Industrial Reform Committee of the PMAP since 2013, which regularly conducts roundtable discussions with PMAP members on various labor and employment law issues. He is also currently the National Director for Bar Discipline of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Attorney Randall Tabayoyong.
Afternoon, Attorney Randall Tabayoyong.
Hi, good
A
afternoon.
pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, to join us in our PMM on cam. So,
Pleasure's all mine, Joan.
Attorney, our topic for today's Anticipate This is about gender issues. Based on your experience, what are the most common gender issues in the workplace right now?
It's still it's still sexual harassment,
Okay.
and also the requirements under the Safe Spaces Act, because we have not yet really adjusted to the requirements of the law. Because I guess that is how people are right now.
Mhm.
Although there have been quite some improvement, but really having a 100% compliance, I think we're still going towards that.
Okay. So how does it work out right now? Since a lot of us are working from home, is this still happening? And how do we determine if this is really happening?
Yes. I have yet to see a case where there is sexual harassment because of under a work from home arrangement. But I would suppose it could still happen. It's simply because sexual harassment is or gender bias statements can still happen, not just physically, but can also be done through words,
Okay.
through actions that you can see when you are working from home, especially when you have a video conferencing with your bosses or from the social media messages that you receive
Mhm.
from your colleagues or your boss. So it
Okay.
could happen.
So how do we go about kung kunyari na experience nila yung sexual harassment? What are the parameters, no? Meron bang ano yung kasi parang thin line. Sometimes how do you know kung parang it's already considered sexual harassment or not?
That's a good question, Joanna. I would liken it this way. If, for example, and I usually always give this example when I give seminars on this kind of offenses. For example, you're walking down the street and some guy would touch your butt, diba? And your normal reaction would be, what's your normal reaction, Joan? What would you do?
Sure, I
If
will be
somebody,
shocked.
you'll be shocked,
Shocked
and
and angry
and what will you
and
tell the
offended.
guy? Yeah, what will you tell the guy?
Mind your own business. Like,
Yes,
what are you
diba?
doing? Yeah.
Pagsasabihan mo siya, and some of us would
Right.
even punch the guy, right?
Right.
Slap him on the face kasi bastos eh.
Yeah.
But then imagine the same scenario. You were inside the building and you entered the elevator and then your boss was there and then he touched your butt. What will be your reaction? Now, some of us, hindi papalag, magtatahimik na lang. Pero
Right.
deep inside, you were offended, right?
Yes.
So that's sexual harassment to you. It's something that you cannot do because by reason of the fact that he's your boss, you cannot fight back. So that's how you know that you are being sexually harassed. Your normal reaction of indignation, you keep it to yourself because you fear that you will be sanctioned by your boss, or you won't be given a raise, or you will be given tough assignments, etc., etc.
Okay. You mentioned a while ago, attorney, that sexual harassment could also be in the form of words.
Yes.
So is it also, does your explanation a while ago also applies to that?
Correct. Yes. For example, your boss would send you sexually charged messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may appear to be innocent, but if you are offended by it and you cannot reply by saying to your boss, boss, ang bastos mo naman, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do that, then that's sexual harassment as well. So
Okay.
remember, sexual harassment is not because of the law here punishes not because of the the sexually charged statement, but
Mm-hmm.
it is because of the imbalance. There is an imbalance between you and kaya nga sa sexual harassment, the requirement is there's moral ascendancy. And that is
Mm-hmm.
what's being punished in sexual harassment. Because of that moral ascendancy, you cannot fight back.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Kasi,
cannot show indignation as to what is being done to you, right?
okay. It's like a play of power, no? In
Yes,
this
power
case, and
play.
authority.
Correct, Joan, correct.
How about if it's the other way around? Like sometimes there are some employees, kunyari, from an HR perspective, no? There are some employees na nagsabi na meron silang na-experience na sexual harassment, but they are afraid to file a report. What can HR do about this?
So that is where the requirements of the law come in, because the law requires that you have, number one, a policy in place. So which means everybody is aware that if you
Yeah.
do this kind of conduct or you say these kinds of words, you can be charged with sexual harassment. And the second thing that the law requires us, all companies, to have is that there should be a procedure by which you can lodge a complaint for sexual harassment. Now, if you don't have that procedure, then you are deficient, no, in your legal compliance. In fact, yan yung mga tinitingnan ng mga dole inspectors natin. When they inspect the workplace, they will ask, oh, where is your sexual harassment procedure? Procedure for filing of sexual harassment complaints. So it should be there, because once it's there, then the employees hopefully can avail of that procedure when they feel that they're being sexually harassed. So kung may nahihirapan na empleyado, ibig sabihin, the procedure is not clear enough, or there is no procedure at all by which they can file their complaint.
Okay. Do you mean to say na what if the employee parang nahihiya kaya hindi siya nag-file? Kasi minsan parang we encourage them to file a complaint so that we can act on it. Diba? Kasi if wala naman kaming written document or written complaint, then wala tayong parang how can we start the due process, right? So what
Correct.
if ayaw talaga niya because nahihiya siya? Is there really nothing HR can do about it?
Well, that's the problem. No? Unless somebody goes to HR and informs HR about it, then perhaps HR can talk to the employee, and then reassure the employee that, look, we have this procedure, we have this committee. Remember, it's not HR who will investigate, no? It's the committee on decorum who will investigate the complaint. So we have this committee, and we'll make sure that you will be adequately heard in that case, no? The problem here, of course, is what if nobody tells HR? What if nobody knows about it except the victim? Right. Well, that's the sad part about it, because it has to really come from the victim to come forward and complain. Otherwise, may hirapan siya na hindi malalaman ng company yung nangyari sa kanya.
Yeah, that's the sad truth, no, right now. So, attorney, this is such an interesting topic. I wish that we can still talk about other aspects, since there are a lot of topics we can discuss in terms of gender issues. But since time is almost up, maybe we can get a few tips or a few words of advice in terms of handling gender imbalance, gender issues.
Yes. Perhaps my word of advice to all HR practitioners out there is that we should really look at everybody as equal. Sure, there are physical or physiological differences between men and women, but when it comes to work, there is no such thing as those differences become blurred. And we should treat everybody. I guess the goal here is that we treat everybody with respect, with due respect and honor, so that nobody will be a victim of either sexual harassment or unsafe spaces, as defined under our Safe Spaces Act.
Okay, thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Attorney Tabayoyong.
So, Attorney Tabayoyong said it's all about respect, and that's true. While we have policies in place, a culture of respect will do wonders in eliminating gender issues. Kung nabiting kayo sa topic na to, we will dive deeper in our next issue of the People Manager magazine online. Watch for it. Once again, I am Joan Chung,